believe we are live. So I'll say, indeed, and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friend. Thank you for joining me again on another conscious evolution. Finding yourself here once again. Today, we'll talk about forgetting as a good thing. This morning, I had another dream where essentially I took out something from my chest, a heart essentially, but it was silver or metallic in nature, chrome kind of. And then it started to melt over my hand and start covering me. And it came all the way up to like my skull, holding on to me. And it was like a shield or something. And I remember very clearly feeling an understanding or a message or a reason for this to be happening. Like it was some sort of archetypal information, right? Like, sure, I just ripped my own heart out and then it melted into my hands and over my body as a shield, right? Sure, that's what happened. But there was like some sort of underlying meaning. And I knew said underlying meaning. I still don't know what the underlying meaning is. I feel like I've been pondering it all day. But in that moment I knew exactly what it means. And I remember being like, yeah, I'm gonna talk about this in stream. And then I opened my eyes to this world and I read some of my messages, beautifully loving ones. And then I'm like, what? What was that dream about again? And it was lost, completely so. And it's been bothering me all day. And then instead of not having anything to talk about today, I decided we'll talk about forgetting instead. You know, how we are capable of forgetting as people. I believe forgetting as a possibility technically allows us to have this experience the way we're having it right now. As in, if you couldn't forget, if forgetting wasn't a possibility for you, you would probably be a little bit overloaded. One, you would still be viscerally angry about a great deal many things, right? Like we've been angry about things, and then a week passes, 2 week passes, and we might forget what we were angry about, right? And then also, again, and I've shared this perspective multiple times, the perspective of you as consciousness being this thing we call God, right? That if you didn't forget that part of yourself, you wouldn't be allowed to experience what it's like to be yourself, right? This version of yourself that you identify with, the version of yourself you point to in a picture. And I feel like forgetting, even though it can be seen as a bad thing, at least for our current mindsets, where we tend to be very vigilant, right? And yesterday we even talked about my personal want to have perfect recall and total recall, right? Like as a, I don't know if it's a superpower necessarily, but a technological enhancement. How forgetting as a human being might be a good thing, right? I don't know if it was a good thing for me forgetting the dream I had, right? Like I don't know if I'm okay with that necessarily just yet, but I wouldn't have had this moment. I don't have anything to talk about if I didn't forget, technically, right? It's like technically you would have that thing to talk about if you didn't forget. That's the gist of it. I thank you, friends, for joining me. Let me say hi to you, beloved ones. I see Joe. Love yous. As we love you too, dear Joe. Shad is here too. Enjoy Vive, Brother Ryan, and Loizana, and Brother Duck Dad, and Dan. So many beloved friends. I close my eyes only for a moment, and the moment's gone. All my dreams pass before my eyes. A curiosity. Experiencing this moment fully, knowing that eventually me will forget it. All right. I don't know if the I forgets. I think the I remains aware of everything at the same time throughout all of time. But the me that is melt, that is flesh, will surely forget. Will forget what it feels like to be sitting at my parents' home, feel the wind right now, the way the little leaves are clashing against each other in the wind, the sun shining through it. My Peppy dog, why can't you live like 100 years like me too? So much to be seen, so much to be forgotten. All there is this moment. I'm gonna forget about all the negatives of my life and embrace all of the beautiful going forward. It's like, but Mel, can forgetting the negatives, put you in a position to get yourself hurt once again? Yes. And yet, that's kind of what makes this experience beautiful. The fact that you can forget things and then re-experience them. For instance, if there's like one movie, your favorite movie that you could forget, right? Completely forget and rewatch from that mindset of never having watched it. How much there is to experience and just like forgetting about something and then getting to experience it again. Okay, Ryan of Early Morning Poetry. I felt like that was like a haiku. I don't know if it's the same thing, but it might be. Seeing Duck Dad's name. Lovins to you, Brother Bear. It's nice seeing you too. I'm listening to it right now. Oh, the song! You're talking about the song. How about that? Loizana suggested we listen Dust in the Wind. I think that's the song's name. Dust in the Wind. I've forgotten the artist name. There it is. Song faded out exactly as Mel tuned in. Perfect. So much love. Oh wow. I'm tripping out. It's lovely having you here, Dan. Essentially, I took my heart out of my chest. First thing I heard. Yeah, that's basically what happened, right? Like, and I like how in the dream space, I'm like, this is not even normal to me. I understood it. I was like, yeah, I take my heart out of my chest. My heart is not flesh. It is made of self-transforming metal. Ah, the self-transforming metal is now coating my skin. Ah, okay, yes. I can see myself in the mirror with my chrome body. Yes, makes sense. Yeah, that makes complete sense. And then I wake up and I'm like, what? The what did I just experience? Like for me, the ability for our dream space to kind of like render these worlds that are so. Oh, okay. So more of my dream space is coming back right now. I remember it being hard. Like that's something that I really did experience last night as well. That it wasn't nice. All right. Whatever I was dreaming about, like that was basically the conclusion of the dream, right? Kind of like using my heart as a suit. That was the conclusion. But I would only do that, at least in my mind in this moment, to try and protect myself from something, right? And the something was myself, essentially, taking me for a ride in the dream space. Like I was struggling. I was struggling to do my work, essentially. And I remember, I think at once, waking up, to my normal world again before I went back to sleep and having a sense of relief that this world is easier than whatever I have to go through when I'm sleeping. And then I get to forget about all of that and I get to be myself again, right? Technically, we spend more time, at least, conceptually, because time is sped up in our dream space. We spend more time in our dreams than we do in reality, you know. Isn't that tripping? This might be a dream in and of itself, Who says this is base reality? In fact, statistically, it's probably not. I had another rough experience yesterday, guys. What's going on? 3 months ago, I reached out to two friends, Mike and Zach, who I'd walked away from because I realized I owed them an apology. They both accepted it and welcomed me back into their lives. We all live in 4 blocks of each other, which is a rarity in New York City. And I was looking forward to spending time with them. Zach and I have done that. He's made the effort, but Mike has constantly blown me off. I called him from the psych ward last weekend, and he knew my situation. I explained how lonely I was and the resulting depression, and he lied and said we could hang soon. So yesterday, I calmly confronted Mike. He said that he's not ready to hang out with me, which is not even really the truth. He wants to go out, he wants to go our separate ways and is too cowardly to admit it. So much so that he would sooner lie to me. It's not even the psych ward. He may just not have the capacity to deal with my issues. Oh, that's Joyce. Sooner lie to me. I roomed with this man in college and I've known him for 10 years. I'm ready to let go now, but I resent that he wasn't honest with me. It prolonged the hurt, and I told him that. How about that, Brother Dan? You know, like thinking about today's stream topic in relation to what you just said, this ability to forget, right? Like I feel most of the pain you're experiencing right now, if you're still experiencing pain, you're experiencing pain as a memory, right? You're remembering what was said, the lie that was told, the promises that were made and then not kept, right? Because you were capable of remembering the promise that was made and then not kept. And I'm just thinking to myself how, that's, I don't know if it's your fault. I am the same way, Dan, just so that we can like establish that. If you want to kind of like tick me off, not considering, my time or my mind or my intelligence, in fact, right? Like, don't lie to me. Like, just be straight with me. You can straight up tell me, yeah, Melt, get wrecked. Oh, I don't want to hang out with you. Like, and then I'll be like, shit. I probably ask, what did I do? But that will be better to me than you just straight up lying to my face about why it is you're not, right? And that has happened to me, for the record, Dan. Like people fading into, I don't like this word necessarily, but fading into obscurity, right? Disappearing from your life. And we do forget. And in a weird way, that forgetting can be soothing. I know spending 10 years with someone and getting to know them and growing close, you don't exactly want to forget all of those things. But I believe that, you're getting better, growing. 3 months ago, he could have said, I accept your apology, but I don't want to be friends. And I would have been sad, but I respected it. Exactly. Now, there's all of this like, how dare you, you asshole, lie to me, pretend like you're still, he assured me that we were cool and had me over at his place. Maybe, and this is me playing, I heard this recently, Devil's Avocado, and I loved it so much. This is me playing Devil's Avocado. Maybe that one time he got you to hang out over his place was the deciding factor that, there wasn't, room for you in his life. And there's many reasons for that, right? Like there's going to be a plethora of reasons. One of them being, a potential jealousy, one of them being a potential difficulty in just what the nature of the relationship is going to be. I wanted someone, it's someone that I wanted in my life. That makes it worse. At this point, there's very much a past tense. I get you, bro. For what it's worth, there are other people in New York City. And I promise you, this is me being a little bit coy. I'm sorry, Dan, I have to be a little bit. There's probably people you can be friends with living in your block, right? In your actual building, even, I don't know if that's appropriate in New York City to just go like knocking on people's doors and go, I know this is odd, but do you want to be friends? You want to be my friend? And I'm like, I can hear Dan going, Melt, you clearly do not understand New York City culture. No, I don't, dude. Of course I don't. I live on a farm in Africa somewhere, dude. Like, I don't know anything, bro. I'm sorry. But I know you're a great guy, bro. You're smart. You're, fun to talk to. You're compassionate. You think for yourself. You think deeper than just what is told of you. So it's easy to have a conversation with you. And there will be other people who want to hang out with you still. You know, our lives aren't over. You'll forget about this too, and you will see it through. I believe in you. I'm sorry that you've been going through the motions, bro. What's going on? How was yoga? Do tell us actually. How was yoga? You went to that studio, right? I'm sorry to hear that. And there we go, Shan asking as well. So much love ins. Damn it, Shan. Mama flowers. Effing up my sunflowers again. Yeah, they are wild creatures technically, right? And to them, nature is their food basket. And now you are facilitating nature for them. Dr. I'm sorry to hear that they're wrecking your plants, especially if they wreck them, before they're mature, for example. And especially if they just like nibble a little bit on one thing and then move on to the next little thing. So they just like decimate a bunch of produce instead of just eating one thing until completion. Never without you. So much love and to Sam too. Blessings, beloved Sam. It's nice having you here. I love you, Dan. I love you. So what I'm trying to say is just offering another perspective is okay. Nothing's hurtful. Love is true. Dan, that's kind of sweet and sour, eh? Good to reconnect with Zach. But Mike probably got his own stuff going on. Yeah, that's usually how it is. I feel like these days, just like the last few months, for me at least, has been pretty hard, right? Like there's a certain almost like contraction energy, like everything ebbs and flows, you know. And I feel like we are in the loop of like getting pulled in, and that getting pulled in, usually has some people pull away. I'm sorry, nonetheless. Doesn't make it any easier, even if we conceptualize it. Some people freak out if someone is in the psych ward and they think they don't know how to talk to them. Yeah. I don't want you're crazy, maybe. Some people might think you're crazy is contagious. I'm joking, of course, but you'd be surprised with what people can convince themselves of. I had a buddy named Dan. I guess he's still my buddy, but I helped him through a very difficult time, and he's got bipolar and some other issues resulting jumped, from being jumped the head with a baseball bat. I'm guessing he got baseball batted by someone who jumped him. That is pretty brutal. I hope he heals slowly but surely. Hopefully our medical tech, catches up as well. For 3 years, I gave everything to help Dan through his tough time. It took him a long time, but he did it. And when his life got stable, I had to drift away. I'm sure it's not pleasant for him. But the emotional toll everything took on me was too much to continue in this dynamic while I was falling to pieces myself. Strippy that, then the name has to be Dan as well. Brother Duck Dad, almost like giving you the other perspective. SRS is here too. Hey, SRS. Blessings to you, friend. Like, I still don't know how old SRS is. Pippi is on my lap right now, and I want to kind of go get my water. Can I go get my water, sweetie girl? Can I get my water, please? Please, can I get water? I want to get some water. Oh, lost a friend. I'm 23. Okay. I was being self-conscious about smoking weed. If you're chilled, can I get some water? How is this comfortable? How are you chilling with this? How are you okay with this? She's like laying down. She's like, yeah, I can make this work. This is not too bad. Let me get up, please. Let me get up, sweetie. I'm sorry for your loss, SRS. You want to tell us her name, his name? We can celebrate them a little bit. Thank you. I'm back in a second. I admit that was more than a second, but we'll forget about it, right? Forget about it. Forget about it. Don't worry about it. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Let me continue reading. Student lied to me. With the psych ward, he may just not have the capacity to deal with your issues. It's probably not even personal. Exactly. I roomed with this guy again. Posted a melting silver heart in Discord. Thank you. Echoing the trip of the day stream. It's a cat laughter. One day, I'll have some sort of AI model that can interpret burp songs for me. I'll probably switch it off after I understand. I'm gonna need help getting the data for the database. I feel like I'm missing some context. I'm gonna continue reading comments. Maybe someday I'll reach out again, but I was no good to him broken. Maybe Mike feels similar. Just realized my name is Mike. Oh goodness. That is pretty trippy. Right? That is now synchronicity for you. Thinking about how technically you are both Dan and Mike, right? And you are that Mike. And you are the Mike that you are. But you've forgotten what it's like to be that Mike so that you can remember what it's like to be you. So that you can remember your experience of your Dan to share the wisdom that you needed to share with our Dan. You know, and I'm forgetting. So much forgetting. Bruh, I don't mean to cause pain or hurt to you. My new Dan, lol, just offering a second side. No, I see it too, Red the Bear. It's beautiful. Joy, I wish it was true, but he's been dodging me well before I was even in the psych ward. Does he have new friends? You know, do you challenge him? I know some people don't like actually being challenged, right? They would rather have friends that just kind of encourage no matter what it is they're doing, you know, what it is they believe they should be doing. I feel I'm in part that way, but I'm also, I believe at least, semi reasonable about what it is I'm supposed to be doing. Right? I don't go too far out and then expect to be supported, you know, on a limb. Dan, I had to let an old friend go once, and it was so hard. She took no hints, but if I told the truth, I knew she would flip out. Yeah. I had to do something kind of similar with another friend as well. You know, she was not showing up the way I'm trying to, right? And it's difficult sometimes, you know, because it's hard to expect other people to show up the way that you do. It's sometimes even impossible, never mind hard, right? And there's this one quote that goes, "You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." Right? And that has been a pretty significant quote for me to kind of be reminded of. And unfortunately, you know, this friend, not evil in nature, just very attached to the world, you know, expected too much. And it was hard as well. You know, I remember the conversation being had and then still going and meeting her. You know, like maybe that could be one way to do it, Dan. Like tell Mike, you know that things are kind of dead in the water, but you would at least like some closure, you know. Maybe you can call him or something if there's no option for you to meet up and just have a proper conversation. It helped us, to kind of just like confirm that there's no animosity, there's no hatred towards one another. But as you mentioned, we'll have to go separate paths. Mm, just being a fucker. Sam. Oh, Dan. Just to be sure, you aren't 6'5" Mexican Irish and tatted from head to toe, are you? No. My mind is a garden, and now I have plenty of space for new people to take root. Exactly. This is the way, Brother Bear. I'm kind of Nordic looking, and like 6 foot. Yeah. I know what Dan looks like. I've had a video call with Dan. I know what he looks like. Sam of the Heat. I haven't called someone of no space intentional in ages. I'm going to make that today's goal. Someone's going to get wrecked. Sometimes we panic and say, sure, let's go together, because it just comes out of our mouth. And then we go, man, shit. But how do we say, no thanks, I'm good? Just like that. You just go, no, no, thank you. I don't want to do that. And if they go, why? That's where it gets difficult, right? Because then it's like, you don't want to hurt someone's feelings, but you also want to be direct enough so they get the message. So we usually lie, right? We're like, oh, I'm tired. I'm not feeling energetically ready. And it might not even be a lie, right? That might be true. But technically, it's, at least in my mind, because we feel like we lose more energy spending time with that person than we gain in some capacity, right? And then that losing of energy, on top of already being tired, just gets even more heavy. My Dan had love tattooed on his knuckles. He had a heart of gold, but a bit of a past. Anytime I would mess with him, he'd say, bro, don't make me give you anything but the love. So you want some love from me right now? Give you a love your face, dude. Love, love. You're standing in the jury and you go, oh, judge, all I did was love his face. That's all I did. You know, the defendant has love tattooed on his knuckles. It's like, shh, shh, don't talk about that. In the end, it came back to me that she was bad mouthing me behind my back. So it just kind of faded away. Yeah, right. Like if someone was truly your friend, bad mouthing you behind your back, usually isn't the way it's supposed to be. Exactly, Mal. 3 months ago, I would have said, accept the apology. Again, exactly. Instead, he assured me that we were cool and I had me over at his place. I just don't want to have you in my life. It is really hard. But sometimes you need to have the cojones to be direct. Man, I feel like today's stream topic being forget, right, is kind of like relevant to this whole experience we're having together right now. Losing friends intentionally, right? Moving away from them, if you will. I'm happy to be close with you, friends, right now. Thank you for being willing to spend this time with me. I honor you. I'm gonna smoke this marijuana with this honoring in mind. I see a sword. It has a beautiful hilt. The hilt has crystals embedded in the top of it where the counterbalance is. It's a round crystal. And it's like kind of like overlaid with metal that makes it look like an eye. Like the eyeball is like a crystal in the middle of this metal overlay. I don't like, it's impossible technically to do that, at least conceptually, right? Like if you know how to work metal, that is very hard to do. Being careful with how we wield our swords, right? This tongue that you have. You can focus on rebuilding friendships with Zach and then make space for new friends. Exactly. That's the way it should be. Sometimes people are there for a reason or a season. Everyone isn't forever. Agreed. Manifestation is real. Love is true. Melt, I can't go knocking on doors. I am going to try and meet up. I'm going to try and meet up groups. That's good. Yeah, I'm happy. I was just like, kind of like joking a little bit, but the energy that I was trying to encourage you with. It's like, go out there, dude. Go out there, make some friends. You're a cool dude. I'm happy to have you as a friend. I'm sure everybody else, or the right people at least, will as well. I live in Queens, Rabbit. Are you in New York City as well? No, I don't think so. Right now, you're feeling abrasive towards him. Maybe he is towards you. But you've said your piece in pieces for now, and so be it. I say, allow the space. Who knows when you might have a fond memory and want to reach out and say, yo, dork, remember that time thinking about you and had to laugh. And leave it for him to do with it as he will. When you feel lovingly, project that energy. The worst it can do is rebuild. So beautiful. I couldn't agree more. Thank you, Joe. Yeah. That's the way it should be. You're not going to make something smooth by sanding it, right? Unless you can have really fine grits. How fine is your abrasiveness? Is it rough? Like, are you basically throwing rocks? Or are you, smooth enough to say what's right, to get into all of those nooks and crannies, get all those scratches out? Let's forget I just said anything. Oh, hey, it's SRS. Lovins to you. Dan, not gonna lie, the idea of how many people and loud noises there are in every inch of you in Queens makes me itchy. Yeah, I can't even imagine it. I lived in Shanghai for a while, like 5 months, and that was too much for me as well. I went like into the city center maybe once. I did enjoy it, to be honest, but that's because I like people. But I have like a tolerance, right? It's like I gotta. This is sounding weird, and let's all forget I just said it after I say it. Okay, it's like people can be kind of poisonous, right? Opinions, perspectives, judgment, all of those things can be potentially poisonous when it's projected at you. But in the same way, with actual poison, you can technically condition yourself by taking little bits and then a little bit more. And I'm not suggesting you do this, of course. I'm just sharing the concept. You can gain tolerance for people as well, right? But then there is a certain level of saturation that is reached where you have to kind of, be with yourself again. At least I have to, I can't speak for everyone. And if you live in the city, sometimes even the moments of peace can still be loud. At least, from what I've noticed. I know, Brother Dan is on it though. So dovetailing into something positive. Yeah, let's do it. Sorry, you are the maiden of death. Every time you pop up, someone has died. It does seem that way. Maybe it's the same friend who died. Maybe she's still heartbroken about it. Mike Verbeek. That's the friend who died? Verbeek. Verbeek sounds like an Afrikaans fan. Probably Poppers probably loves that. I have a website idea for the melting community that I'm going to begin working on. It's going to be a website that displays a random geometry card each time you reload the page. Bless, Brother Bear. Perhaps later I'll attach the refresh to a timer. It's so trippy that you say that. I've been meaning to design a deck of cards myself using my psychedelic flowers, and it is technically geometry. Brother Dan, I love you, dude. I'm looking forward to reaching out to you. I want to actually like have a call like there's a bunch of ideas that I have. I don't know if you're keen on developing for the new Vision Pro, right? But that's kind of like a platform that I want to actually create things for. I feel it could be a very small niche, at least at first, but we can do some cool things that we can't do right now, at least not of our conventional technology. The next step might be spatial computing. That's the word Apple used, very, has a ring to it. I'll agree. Their marketing team, knows what's up. Spatial computing. Instead of computing using, your your screen the way we used to, you compute using the world. Right. Like in the way that I see this, and this might be like a little bit of a stretch. I don't know if Apple will go this far with it, but you could technically, as you're sitting and looking at this tree, take a snapshot of that tree, turn it into like a vector image, or, more of a, how can I articulate this? The way I see it in my mind is basically taking the information that is registering in my eyes and then using that information to plot onto a bunch of different nodes. And then you can create works of art using the world. Or you can create code using the world as well. You can use nature as an inspiration. Maybe they'll go that far. Maybe we can design an app for it. Like I want to be able to, at least, that's my hope for this, like this idea that I have, to be able to like create, platforms that make people's worlds a little bit more psychedelic, geometric, right? Trippy. Add some fractals to people's lives, essentially. Perhaps later I'll attach a refresh. I'm gonna need help getting the data for the database. Do I need to give you like good scans? I'm thinking that will probably be the best bet, right? I'm just, yeah, I don't know if Francine Hart actually, posted them online. Trying to think like if we can get like her HD files, that'd be pretty sick. That bird sounds like the teacher from Charlie Brown cartoon. That one, I don't think I've seen necessarily. It's going over my head a little bit. I let the rabbits eat what they want, but she's not biting, she's pulling. So at 8 foot, Sunflower's getting ripped out by her strong ass jaws. That's so much work, growing to 8 foot. And then a little bunny, people go like, oh, rips things apart. All these birds out here singing their graceful and beautiful songs like, any bird wanna give me that birdie? I'm so fit. Look at how strong I am. This is like, yes, that dude must be strong. He's so loud. Who's that? Who's that big loud bird out there? Sounding sexy. This is an approaching idea that can be expanded upon. So let me know what other things might be cool on a MeltFam website. The psychedelic flowers, for one. Like I feel we have so much data to add beauty to people's lives already, Dan. It's just about implementing, right? As you mentioned. Like, and I feel, part of me is very patient, sometimes too patient, right? Like, I'm not worried about the first mover advantage, right? I'm okay with coming to the market later if I need to. But I would like to do things well, and I know that the level of well I want to do some of the code implementations isn't nearly as capable as I am when it comes to my skills. And that dissonance, that disconnect is so wide that I feel like it will take me so much time to kind of like close that gap. And I would rather just wait that time. And that gap will be closed for me. Right. And I feel like that's maybe not the best way to approach it. And then I also, I see you friends learning how to code as well. And I think of it from a perspective of like, it's almost like the universe, has given us all of the help we need. That this want to do things alone, as admirable as it can be, and as necessary even sometimes. Like sometimes you have to do things by yourself, for yourself. But we have done that so that we can meet one another in this moment, right? Seeing you, Joe, loving you. Like we've already done all of this work for ourselves by ourselves, and we happen to have found a community that actually has the same goals as us, right? That is heading in the same direction. So it's like we're building the road for all of us right now. So I'm really down. Like the only reason I'm not more vocal about it is because I don't have the resources to actually pay you friends what you're worth, right? And that's kind of like where I draw lines as well, where I feel very apprehensive as a self to ask for help if I can't adequately reward those who help me, right? I do believe there will be growth, and I would assume that it goes without saying that if there's growth, those who help, benefit from it as well. But I am patient. If I'm anything, these days especially, I can be almost too patient. Painfully patient. Like painful to the point of rage, where my thinking mind, can articulate all of these different ways of being, and then the real me is just content with stillness. Just calm stillness. Right? I've been meditating more as well, and it's been feeling good. Just finding that moment and just allowing yourself to let go of urgency. And I know that's not always easy, especially if you're hungry, if there's a need that needs to be met. Sometimes there needs to be urgency. I agree. But not always. If the urgent things are taken care of, allow yourself to rest. Allow yourself to forget, right? Today's stream topic, that there's a reason people drink. Drinking in a weird way is liquid forget. There are other ways to do it. I'm thinking about Alan Watts right now. That dude was drinking. He was drinking a lot. And he would drink and meditate, you know. and I remember sharing that joke with Brother Ryan, mentioning that, yeah, it probably will work, if you drink and meditate. And then he was like, yeah, you can probably, take heroin as well and then meditate like the best meditation you've ever had. Bliss out completely. And I laughed with him, it was very apt. Da-da-da-da. This is an approachable idea that can be expanded on. Brother Bear, let me reach out to you, dude. I have another idea as well, and this one I feel, even though I really love the idea of having a website, and I believe Kristen has been working on one as well. So maybe you can reach out to her and collaborate, even like it might be a little bit easier that way. But I have an idea that could potentially generate income for you as well, right? This is like a little bit more, and there might be parts of you that cringes when you hear it. But again, I'm thinking in 10, 20, 30-year time frames. And in 10, 20, 30-year time frames, this idea is pretty valuable, at least in my mind. Right? It's essentially a service that we can offer to make something easier for anyone who needs said service. Right? Oh wow, that's every service ever, Melt. Nice. Yeah, I know the details. I know the details. Maybe I'll just share it with a few friends. Essentially, we are moving into an age of technology. Right? We are here. The age of technology is upon us. And with that age of technology, this physical world is going to become more and more integrated into this digital world we're creating parallel to it. And essentially, creating a service that allows companies to do that is going to be pretty valuable. Right? And I know that's still vague. I think of making it pretty simple. Simple and trippy and beautiful. And then keeping camera technology. It's a lot. I know, Dan, it's gonna probably be a lot, but I don't think it's impossible. I don't think it's impossible. I think it's pretty doable. Like we should just have a call, maybe like bring a bunch of the friends that actually go together and see if your friends like the idea. Buns are fantastic demolishers and redecorate your stock. So much love. It's super interesting and hearing more. Dan, thank you for sharing with us, dude. I'm also very curious. Like my mind is running already. Joy saying closure is made up. You don't get closure in life. I, like Dan's, got all the closure he's gonna get with his ex-friend who is duckling and diving, ducking and diving. Okay, yeah. I get you. I don't agree though, right? I've had so much closure in my life, right? And it's kind of uncomfortable getting closure, right? And you can technically argue that if it's uncomfortable getting closure, you didn't get closure, you got more uncomfortable, right? But I do believe that going out of your way to actually just have this conversation, and it is hard sometimes, right? Because especially if you go there with a certain data set in mind, right? If you're like, oh, yes, if person says A, then get B, which is closure. Get C, sure, which is closure, right? And if they don't say B, if they don't say A, sorry, they say B instead, no closure. I feel like that is the problem. Like closure shouldn't be them saying something, right? Apologizing or giving you a reason or etc. etc. It's more just like at least in my mind, like a getting it off your chest. That is closure to me, right? Just getting it off your chest, being like, these things, and then saying them and being like, okay, these things are said, and I feel better because I did, right? Allow yourself that. And you technically did here with us, so that might be enough. I think you're right about closure. I think it's a common myth. How about that? More synchronicity. How do you feel, friends? How do you friends feel about my definition of closure in that case, right? Getting it off your chest as closure, right? You might not get that closure from the other person. It's another word for acceptance. There we go. Closure is a thing. It's just not as neat and clean as you'd like it to be. Yeah, closure may be another word for a conclusion we may readily accept or communicate, right? Just say it, for instance. Florida Manning out here, Joe. Holy shiznit. You become the accumulation of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I'm going to marinate on that later. It's a little bit of a direct one, It feels a little bit of a vat in je gezicht, That makes something easier for those that need it. Don't you? Dan is like really poking at the bear. Yes, that is what services are. When people are willing to pay for services, surprise, surprise. If something is easier for the person, they're willing to give you money. Choked a little bit on my water. I'm sorry. We accept that it's over or that it's out of our control as we have closure when we accept our offer inability to change it. When we accept our offer inability to change it. Acceptance. Are you okay? Pippi is hiccuping. What's your wolf doing? There you go. There she is, Kristen. We were talking about you earlier. Sending you lovin's. It's nice having you here. Forgetting with you, friends. Lovins to you, beloved toast. Make room for more in the cup for good. This is the way. I spend the most time with myself, and I contain multitudes. Think I missed context? Y'all collectively probably tie for the second on my list of top 5 people I spend the most time with. Y'all have so truthfully helped me better myself. I thank you for the time we spent together. I'm happy that you're saying it as well, Joe. I completely agree. Like we spend a lot of time with each other, at least collectively. Like for instance, every single time I end these streams, it tells me how much time we spent together, right? I've spent 50 minutes with you friends, but for every single one of you friends who've spent 50 minutes with me, that's 50 minutes on top of the 50 minutes, right? So we spend days sometimes in this space communicating, thinking about things, feeling things, days, actual days. And eventually it's going to be weeks, and then it's going to be years. Years that we get to experience, right? Not as this self necessarily, right? But as the collective self. And that is how we grow by spending time doing it. Seeing for ourselves. I was just thinking how much I enjoy the idea of being made up of this group of people. Exactly. You friends are literally like that's what I believe. I honestly believe that's what Meltmore is. Right? It's like a bunch of people lovingly coming together and becoming something else. I'm honored to be shaped by this community, and we're honored to be shaped by you, right? Like that's how it works. Like the amount of you being shaped by this community, because it's a collective effort, you are also shaping us. Every loving word you say, you shape other people to expect a loving input from the universe, right? And even if that might not be true, people that live from that perspective are going to experience more love. Even if it's like you looking at a stick, right? I'm looking at technically wood right now. And instead of just seeing death, I can see the beauty of the grain. I can see little paint chips. That was probably someone. I can see a little spider web, a little entity that used to live there, a little leaf hanging on said spider web. I can see the screws made from metal that had to be extracted. People had to do that. Like, there's so much love right in front of me. And because I can see from a place of love, I get to see that which is worthy of loving. And I get to see you friends in that same capacity. And then you teach me love is true. Love is true. Love is true. We are one. There we go. So many beautiful people here. No, you. Mel, I was talking some shiz to someone jokingly. Read it in Afrikaans. Thought you would be proud. It's beautiful, dude. Do it. Beltmore, thank you for this. Thank you, Brother Bear. Like it's a collaborative effort. Talking about shells here too. We're doing it together, right? This whole humanity thing, this whole life thing, right? Being born. I mean, can you be born alone? Technically, no, right? Okay, my mind gave me an option. Humanity on the brink of collapse have a bunch of babies in vats, right? And these babies essentially grow to like maybe teenage years before they come out of said vats. And then there's like a massive nuclear war essentially, and all of the vats except one gets destroyed. And then you emerge from a vat completely alone, the only human being in the whole world. I don't know if I made that sound cool. That's supposed to sound terrifying, at least to me, right? Isn't it a joke that I'd be more scared being completely alone on Earth than I would be with all of 8 billion of us, collectively thinking about our own needs. We're here for each other, right? One of the mental experiments I like to play with myself and with other people that I have conversations with is the ultimate of everything, everything in the world, right? That if every single person in the world had to disappear right now, you would de facto become king, owner of everything in the world, right? Every nice car, every nice house, every swimming pool, every piece of food on the shelves, all of it yours. Do you want that? And I can see how it's possible for some people to be like, yeah, that sounds nice, until it's not. right? It's maybe gonna be nice for like a week at most, I imagine. You're gonna do all of the shenanigans, probably destroy some things because nobody's gonna stop you, and there's nobody going to complain about it. And then you're gonna be like, huh, now what? And you know what's probably gonna happen? More likely than not, you're gonna gravitate towards content, and content have characters, people in them. You're gonna spend time with people, on screens instead. Like we are here for one another, and I appreciate you, friends, for echoing that truth with me as well. Well, my mind is overflowing with thoughts and ideas, some of which we've talked about before, some we haven't yet. We have a Sangha very soon. I look forward to hearing, all of the fractals happening in your mind right now. Write them down, Louisiana. Write them down. Don't forget, right? Write the good things down. Don't forget the good things. Forget the bad. My Afrikaans is way worse than your English, that is for sure. I have had some practice, I think like a few days or so of practice of speaking English. Joe, lovin's to you again, Toast. Extra much, much. Thank you, Butter Bear. I'm sending you much, 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 much too. We have little Pippi gallantly staring into the distance. I wish I could see through their eyes sometimes. I try, but it's black and white almost. Not really, technically, but that's the way I see it at least. I just built a small setup for sharpening my Japanese weeding scythe while the stream was going. Time to sharpie scythe. I am a dwarf and I'm sharpening scythes. Sharpie scythe. Sharpie scythe. Duck that bringing back every single time. I love it, dude. Keep doing it. It seems like there's a nail in service of some kind you may be able to use to have a professional sharpen that for you. Yes, there is. There is. Shell actually recommended that I consider, being a part of that business as well, with knives instead. Sam, until I have two of each tool, I can't afford the turnaround time. That's true. I give this tool a sharpen and oil after each few days use. Exactly. Sharpened tools are safe tools. Yes. Counterintuitive that way, but you don't want to be pulling harder than you're supposed to, like you want things to be cut. Because of some music notes, I diggy hold instead of sharpie side. Exactly what I needed, Joe. Drinking for me is liquid wrestling in the yard. Drinking for me is liquid wrestling in the yard. I don't know what that means. I feel like I'm supposed to know what that means. Like I'm imagining, so this is how I'm interpreting, where instead of talking about drinking, you talk about liquid wrestling, and then I'm like seeing a person drink so much where they're like just like in the earth and they're like having a hard time trying to stand up. And it kind of looks like they're wrestling something, wrestling gravity. Maybe that's what you meant. Who knows? Dan, that is going to be below your skill set. But now that gives me an idea. Take a look at my website. It's designed on Wix.com. People in my area charge $500 starting to design a website like that. I have no idea what I was doing, and I did it in 3 days. You will have to hunt your own work, but it's money. Exactly. Like this, like web design is probably still going to be a big thing for a while. And I feel like this service that I'm talking about could technically have that as a part of it, essentially, like yeah. I'm thinking about it. My mind is still, trying to like put all of the blocks together as well. Drive by Lovins again. So those 5 people you spend the most time with, does that include dogs? I think so, right? I feel like dogs do teach us a lot about how we can love, and you can definitely learn from them as well. Thank you, Peppy, for being such a good teacher to me as well. Hi, Peppy. Hmm? Peppy kiss? Yeah, I do spend a lot of time with Peppy as well. I get you completely, Louisiana. I've become better because of your combinations of 5 people. Same. Like I feel, like it really is a new age we're living in. Like for the longest time, the only 5 people conceptually I could spend time with was people who I could reach by foot or by horse, right? Now I can learn from, resonate with, melt into friends that are literally scattered across the world. That is like a whole new step of what it means to have friendships. It depends on whether or not you consider dog friendship to be the same level as human friendships. I don't really, only for the fact of articulation and sharing ideas and getting challenged for your ideas or not challenged for your ideas, right? Pippi doesn't really challenge me. She doesn't go, actually, no, I don't believe that, and then I get to retort. I tell her, I love you, little doggy, and she wags her tail. She's like, yeah, yeah. My cat wasn't there. Getting the tag yesterday about the baby great blue heron. That was true. I misread it as wankers. I didn't, dog. I was all over the place yesterday. I'll go check. So much love. Thank you. Sure. Dog Dad, I'll post a video of the great blue heron that hangs out with my parents. He's always in the yard there. Do they feed him? Apparently, have just learned this as well. Thanks. Did I miss? Joy, not gonna lie, I was today years old when I found out it means not gonna lie and not something else. NGL, not gonna lie. What did you think it meant, Shell? Never give love or something? That's the closest one I could come up with. I don't want all the swimming pools, or at least one. Exactly. Louisiana, I meant because I slept in and you're all woke before me. It's okay. I appreciate. I've learned this as well. Thanks. The NGL. I'm happy that all of us know now more. Shell, will you be at the song? Huh? Thank you for asking. There's a poker tournament that started on 7-7 called Lucky Sevens. My hubby busted against sevens, and his friend busted holding sevens. Crazy synchronicity. Mm. Like, and we even did like a whole stream where we echoing. My battery percentage is on 78% right now. Would have been trippy. And 47 on my iPhone. Nice. Yeah, all of the sevens. Joe, I've seen a million adult blue herons, but I've never, ever seen a juvenile one. How about that? I was literally all inspiring. So much love. Hey, Mel, I have practiced Afrikaans, singing like a badass with the antwoord. I don't know if you did that on purpose. I'm thinking you did it on purpose. Doug Dad know what buttons to press. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna press this button, see what Mel's face does. Yeah, don't. The antwoord isn't exactly Afrikaans, right? Like I guess technically it's Afrikaans, but I feel like it's like Afrikaans on meth. That's the way I feel about the antwoord, to be completely honest. It's like if you gave Afrikaans people a lot of meth, eventually you will get to the antwoord. Right? And I admire them, and they're hardworking, and they know what they're supposed to be doing, and they're showing up for their careers, which is admirable. Again, but yeah, it doesn't exactly paint a good picture, especially if you've seen the music videos. Doc, we found a eucalyptus tree across from the walnut that was literally hundreds of blue herons and snowy white ergots. I will go take some pictures and videos this morning later after Sangha. Right now, how about that? That's so crazy. I only do diggity all for the joy's benefit. There are so many ergots. I haven't seen them myself. It looks like the tree is full of popcorn. Okay, I think I know what you're talking about. My border collie challenges me regularly, and she's a brilliant communicator. She taught me how to play all her favorite games of balls and frisbees, etc. Yeah, I feel like the border collies, I think, might be the most intelligent dog species, and you can like see, right? Like, there's a certain level of consciousness in Louisiana's pupper. Like she knows what's up, right? Like, and she's aware that we can see her on the screen as well, and she like listens to the voice coming out of the speaker. Like, she can notice when certain people call her name. Like there's a crazy amount of synchronicity or in like awareness in that doggo as well. I want that image in my mind forever, Shell. The popcorn in the tree. Young fellas, don't get drunk and wrestle in the yard. No, not really. Not here, at least. Not anymore. Right? Like, I think wrestling is seen as, taboo as well. No physical contact. She's very specific about things. Border collies are a whole trip, very much so. Like, I've seen, only like moments of yours, and like the moments I've seen have communicated her being to me. Lois, I had a border collie named Reba. She used to organize all of the yucca front in the yard and also my shoes. I would come home and find everything organized in the backyard. I'm just imagining the doggo that goes, yeah, this thing needs here, and then this has to be there, right? Like that's like logic. Like it's reasoning with itself. It has like a system in its mind, that it wants to kind of occupy and like respond to. Nah, dog. When I get drunk, I wrestle in the house with a broom and a sponge or a skillet and some yeah. There we go. Shell, I love that. If they don't have a job, they create one for themselves. Yeah, how about that? They love working as well. Like they are, dogs with jobs. Good old border collies. I thought it meant something that rhymes with wiggle. It's a vibe. I'm gonna not think into it. I thought it meant something. I think I read it on twice now. Duck. The blue herons have a nesting tree about a block away. We see and hear babies all year. That's so nice. Saying egret is like regret without the R. Agret. Agret. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Joy. Agret. I agret saying it egret. E. So freaking loud. But anyway. That's that bird again, Mel. The long short. And there's a dove behind me. You can also hear my family inside. I feel really tired. And there's a dove. I stopped as soon as I typed it, of course. The universe was like, shh, 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 don't let Melt know. No, Melty. On Renika, I liked the music before I found out they were shitty humans. You actually like the music. How about that? Yeah, I don't even know if they're shitty humans. I don't even think that's necessarily the case. I feel like they're just portraying a certain state of being, right? And that state of being isn't really something that I personally resonate with. I can handle annoying baby birds. You should see the baby woodpeckers, which reminds me, House Toothpick, Lovazana, so much love. Sounded like a dove. I think that one behind me was a dove. How do herding dogs know how to herd? Does that take some higher level brain function? They have to at least remember things, right? They have to understand some spatial reasoning, like understand that there's a space and they need to occupy a certain part of that space. And there's another space that these, sheep are supposed to come to. You can come and sit in my lap. And, they're like, I mean, like there's a certain level of reasoning, at least in my mind, like if you had to think about how you would go about herding sheep into, another place. Like I don't feel like they're incapable of that necessarily. Yeah, you can come. There you go. I love that song that started out with a super tribal djembe, fatty boom boom. Yeah, unfortunately, I have no idea what you're talking about, Brother Bear. Melt Reba is like rebar without the R. Reba. Okay. Reba. Reba. Reba is how we would say it in Afrikaans. Kleine Reba. Joy, my dog, was a city abused dog born on a concrete slab until she was rescued at 2. She's an Australian Shepherd mix. When we get her comfortable, she could walk me and my wife back and forth from another room until we sat on the couch together. Then she rested. She was herding us from day one. That's so cute. wants to have all of the humans together, you know, playing like the role of like Big Mama, making sure that, you know, all of the little pups are resting. I'm gonna play some kalimba to ease us out of the stream. We'll pull a card afterwards as well, but we'll be coming down. Dark and Knees is half Australian Shepherd, so she looks like a regular Border Collie with long legs. Okay, I think I noticed as well. You know, she has long hair as well, actually. I used to tell Zoe every morning, pre-kids, that we will go for a walk after I go to the bathroom and get pants on. One day, I went into the bathroom, came out, and she was sitting happy with my pants. You see. Like she actually made that connection, was like, oh, okay, he puts pants on and then we go for walks. 17, 17, 14 friends watching. It just changed. And then 77% of my battery as well. You know, more sevens for Kristen right now. That's so beautiful. Is it Harida birds? I don't think so. The Haridas make like a screaming sound, kind of. Not really, you know, that musical. Good question, Joy. Also, Joe I realized that we might be having nesting woodpeckers that we thought were frogs or toads by the sound. How about that? Make like croaking noises, I'm imagining. That was the bass drop. Burp, burp, chicka burp, burp, chicka burp, burp, chicka burp, chicka burp, chicka burp, burp, chicka burp, burp, chicka. Okay, let me do some kalimba just for a few moments. Ease us out. Feel into the space. Sun is setting. Forgetting. done. What a stream we had today. One to remember, right? And yet, every day melts into every other day, melts even more into this moment again, over and over again. Infinitely. Okay. Good question. Joy. Thoughts. My mom's indoor herding dog is only ever around people and tries to herd them for funsies. He was never taught that. He just does it. It's wild. It's like instinctual to them. Like they know what they're supposed to do. No, they are shitty humans. They abused the kid they adopted. It's actually a really sad story. Yeah, I know about that. Right. Like I imagine them probably having had the same stuff done to them as children as well, you know. So like I think of it again from a place of conditioning, right? Like are there any bad human beings or are there a bunch of people suffering? Right? We forget very easily. People are hurting. Hurt people, right? Mm, 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 mm. There's an interview with the Nam man telling the story. Before we had kids, Joe, we took Zoe to a kid's birthday party in our neighborhood. There was a little kid running around, screaming. Apparently, it sounded enough like a sheep that she chased him down, bumped his butt, so he fell and sat down next to him. Dad, look, good I did. We were asked to leave. I was about to say. Oh, how did the parents respond to that? That's brutal, brother Bear. I'm sorry to hear that. Well, you're getting good. Thank you, brother Bear. I've been practicing a little bit. I'm happy that you enjoy it. Like it really is, important to me. Makes me happy. Hot take, Melt plays better at the end of stream than he does at the beginning. I appreciate you saying that, Mojo. Recently, I thought about, playing at the start of the stream, and usually there's a certain level of tension, right? Like, it is quite a task for me to do this every day, right? Like, the amount of imposter syndrome I have to kind of like overcome the feelings of unworthiness, the feelings of what do I have to say? Do I have anything to say? Am I going to be articulate enough? Am I going to be entertaining? Am I going to be worth people's time? And then if I play kalimba in that state of mind, kind of like getting into the flow, it's extra hard because it's like I'm stuck. And today I feel like extra melty with the amount of love you friends have shared with me. So it like just flowed into the kalimba as well. Joe, it was when wife and I were 23 and anti-kid. We thought it was hilarious. Now I feel a little bad. Talk that reminds me of my big boy Corey. He used to pull my friend's toddler around with his leash. Good old Corey. That's hilarious. Think so. Half Rod, half Aussie. 150-pound blue Merle. Corey is an amazing name for a dog. Agreed. Missing Corey as well right now. Sending Ninja Nanner some blessings. We need a segment called Duck Dad Tales. I love it. Why not? Right? Never mind a segment, like a whole, YouTube channel even, Duck Dad Tales. Think it, slay straight up. Joe, I could do that for hours. If not, why not? What's stopping you? What's stopping you, brother bear? I never listen to anyone else play the kalimba. I get transformed when I listen to you play, brother. It's pretty great. Now you. I am but a mirror. I am but reflecting back to you that which you are. Right. And I'm happy that you can experience the beauty that is the kalimba sounds. A little voice. Still technically mine, right? It's me speaking, but it's not my voice. I made it, slept in today. You are here, Nanshi. Right here in the moment. It's nice having you. It's time for us to pull a card, shall we? Actually, let me shuffle the deck a little bit again. It's been a while. I seriously freaking love it when you tell stories, Doug. They're short, to the point, and quacky. I see what you did there. So quacky. They're perfect, right? Kind of like tongue-in-cheek type of stories. It's beautiful. Yeah, Nachi, blessings. Friends celebrating friends. That's the way it's supposed to be. Celebrate! Don't forget, you were here to be lovingly. I see an eagle. No eagles. Damn, I would have tripped out extra hard if there was an eagle on this card. I still feel it's a good card. I feel like we forget what this card is going to remind us of all the time. So it's going to be a good one. Any guesses? Going once? Going twice? Going 3 times? A 4th time even? Upside down. 1 drop. I see a bug. That does look like a pretty bug-like, water droplet. I'm not gonna lie. I also saw a creature. I feel like this is like one of the few cards that doesn't have creature. I mean, these can be seen as legs, right? Each of these. The 1 drop is all there is. I have but 1 small drop of knowing in my soul. Let it melt into your ocean. Forget, right? And let me forget. Let's read what it means. Card number 1. Calm and chaos. Nope. Amid chaos. That circular energy. This card has no reverse aspect, so it's just straight to the main one. In accordance with unity and spirit, the circle represents a beginning that has no end. How about that? Like me and Sam, we were like talking about this in yoga after finishing yoga today. And I was like, Sam, it's just like, it just keeps going. I know we're tired. I know I'm tired. Me too. All of us are tired right now. But it doesn't stop. Nope. No stopping. The circle represents a beginning that has no end. It just keeps going. Around. It is an ever-expanding potential and represents our connection with the holographic nature of oneness. We live in a world that at times feels overpowering and chaotic. It is easy to get caught up in a wild ride of emotional waves that feel as if they are out of your control, about to crash in upon you. Quantum physics views matter as a wave structure of reality that is both continuous and discrete, both local and non-local. Sometimes it is all too much to handle. So we forget. Boom. You, yes, you, me, yes, you are the 1 drop that sits at the center of this circle and of your own reality. Right? That there's infinite reality going out in every direction, starting here, right here. It is within this quiet place that you have the potential to experience calm amid the chaos of modern day existence. Choosing this card suggests, Pepe is farting. Choosing this card suggests that you enter this golden circle and feel its potential. Create for yourself a place of calm where you may be quiet, meditate, and remove yourself from the demands that consume your time and aggravate your emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual bodies. Remove yourself for a while from the chaos, allowing and knowing that in this still, calm place, 1 drop is all there is. View the rest of your life from this relaxed, tranquil, and composed place. I have one small drop of knowing in my soul. Let it melt in your ocean. Yeah. Single drop in the ever flowing river of life. Exactly, bro. Like the way I like to articulate this, and it's very beautiful to me in my mind at least, is to imagine gravity, right? Taking one drop out of an ocean, right? Seeing this infinite sprawling ocean, right? Like you're in the middle of it, and everywhere you look, you just see ocean, 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 right? Just a line. And then you see this little drop come out of this ocean and hanging in front of your face. And you go, oh, wow, that's a drop. And then you watch that drop go back into the ocean. And you go, oh, wow, that's an ocean. That's what you are. And you forget you are the ocean. Rightly so, because it's hard to call a drop an ocean and keep a straight face, right? Because it's like, no, it's not the ocean. That's just a drop. And yet, at what point, as this drop melts into the ocean, right? Is it like when it's still above the surface, when it has like a little bit of you know, a circle attached to it? Is it then a self? Or, is it the same thing, the whole time? Nice. No, you, Nancy. You were here for it. Thank you, dear friends, for tuning in, for your one drop in this moment, for the ripples that we collectively get to put into each other's lives. It's more impressive than you know. Melt, we see the world in a very similar way. I feel like that's why we see each other, bro. Right? Like, that's why every single time any of you friends dare compliment me, I have to be like, actually, no, you. Because if we weren't so similar, at least if the way we love the world, you wouldn't love me. You just straight up wouldn't. And the fact that you friends do just show me that you are that loving entity, right? That I'm but a reflection of the same thing that you see. Shan, with her message saying, have the most beautifulest day, everyone. I really, really love you all so, very super, extremely, tremendously, whoppingly, considerably, cosmically, intense, immensely, dearly. Melting all of you oh so amazingly, wonderfully, unbelievably, marvelously, jaw-droppingly, impressively, gorgeously, especially epic friends. As we love you, dear Shan. Thank you, friends. Thank you, Zhao. Thank you, Kristen and Loazana and Nancy. Feeling inspired today. Thanks for that. Thank you for inspiring me with knowing that you are being inspired. Yeah, 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 Echo. Yeah, Echo love. Yeah. Mm, 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 mm. Boom. Boom, jump, boom, 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 jump, boom, jump, boom. Boom, jump, boom, jump, boom. Pepe is like, what's happening right now? We're celebrating, Pepe. We're getting inspired. We're getting all hyped. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, show your monkey My kids are gonna hate me one day. I'm like, no, Dad, please. Love you, love you. I love you, friends. Thank you for joining me, for sharing this moment with me and Pepe. I'll see you, friends, again soon. Like in a few moments, technically, if you're joining the song, huh? And if not, tomorrow. Love you! Until we do this again, there are hugs, and then there love is true. Either way, I see you. Thank you, friends, for sending your love to me too. Until we do this again. Bless you.